this afterward. Okay, that's what it should like. Very good. That happened. Yeah. All right. Very good. Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Foley with Paladin Financial, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Paladin Financial Talk. We've got a great show here today, and we have some special guests, 3 special guests that are part of our team here at Paladin Financial, and never been done before here on the podcast. This is kind of like a podcast battle royale. There's 4 of us here in the room, and we're excited about this. So I'm going to start off, and before we get into this month's topic, wanted to have you guys introduce yourselves and tell you a little bit. How long have you been here at Paladin? What do you do? And we'll roll into what are we here to talk about here this week? Maybe for the second time, the record button is on this time. So, Jack, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Hello, everybody. My name is Jack Eckholm. I'm originally from Eden Prairie, so just southwest suburbs of the city. Just graduated a couple of weeks ago from Drake University in Des Moines with degrees in actuarial science and finance, and just started here this Monday, so only 3 days ago, as a paraplanner. So working to assist the advisors and eventually hopefully take on clients of my own one day.
Good. Very good. Excellent.
My name is Alyssa Gustafson, and I am originally from Iowa, so don't hate for you Minnesotans out there. I have started at Paladin last Tuesday, so I've got a few days up on Jack, and I'm working as a client services representative, and so I'd be looking forward to speaking with clients or prospects about paperwork and getting all your I's dotted and your T's crossed.
Yes, very good.
Hi, I'm Mary Soltis. I am from St. Paul, and I just graduated from Cretin-Derham Hall last year. So I finished my first year at the University of Notre Dame a month ago. And then I started here at Paladin about 3 weeks ago. So I've got a little leg up on these 2. And I am an intern, so I'm kind of just doing anything and everything, trying to learn the ropes. And yeah.
Good. Very good. Welcome to the show. Yes. So this month, we're going to talk about our theme. We usually have a theme every month, and this month's theme is to talk about big life expenditures, whether that's a house or college education, long-term care expenses. So some fun and unfun things along the way. And as we were preparing, one of the themes that kept coming up is life lessons. And what have we learned, and what have our clients' experiences been that have kind of played a hand in how you might make good decisions on planning for those expenses. So we wanted to kind of step back, and no numbers today. Tony's out. I don't have any charts and graphs to share with you, unfortunately. But talk a little bit about what that is like. And everyone in here is in a little bit different position in life and phase. But starting off, if you look at your family, every family handles talking about money or not talking about money differently. What's been your experience either in your family or how you were raised and talking about money? Jack, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. So both my parents are very far from the financial services industry. My dad was in the construction industry. My mom's a nurse. So we kind of knew growing up, and they made it pretty clear they didn't know a ton about, financial life, didn't have a ton of advice to give to us. So we were never sat down and given the financial lesson. We were always open to ask questions, and whether they could answer it or point us to somebody else, we could
get those. A financial birds and bees conversation.
No, okay. No. The main lesson though was just saving is important. Monitoring your spending, not spending all of your money. I remember getting us set up with bank accounts when we were young, so we would have a place to put our money. I remember being super excited about that super tiny interest rate that I was getting on my money. I was adding money to my portfolio without doing anything. That was super exciting. And then another piece of it too was going along with that, just early financial responsibility for ourselves, making it clear we're not going to pay for absolutely everything, just kind of peppering in opportunities for us to spend our own money. So that would motivate us to go out and get jobs and do odd jobs around the neighborhood, to make our own money and do things like buy ice cream on a family trip or pay for a little expenditure that they made it clear they weren't covering. So yeah. I think that was a good way to kind of introduce that financial responsibility to us early.
It's good. Alyssa?
Yeah. Well, growing up, I feel really old after hearing all that, but growing up, I don't remember having a lot of knowledge of our family's finances, just having a comfort level that we were fine. We weren't super well off, but we weren't super poor either. And having my parents kind of teach us about financial responsibility by having us earn an allowance, doing our chores. So we earned an allowance. And then when we were able to, when we were old enough, getting part-time jobs in high school and saving up for different things, extracurricular types of activities. As a parent, I'm kind of balancing figuring out what the right path is, having my kids have an allowance, but have to do the chores to go along with it. Trying to teach them, along with the money that you earn, there's going to be a portion that you're saving and a portion that you're giving. So donations, and instilling that in them. I feel like now with a college age son, I feel like there have been some gaps in how well we've done, but trying to come alongside him now also and help him learn some of those lessons as he's becoming independent without jumping in and doing it for him.
You'll know how you did in 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Mary.
Yeah, so I'd say growing up, and especially when I was young, I wasn't really super in the know with all of my family's finances. You know, I knew enough to be secure and just be okay with that and not have to worry about it. But I would say, especially financial responsibility, that if anything was a big talk and lesson from my parents. Whenever they could, they'd make us go out and earn some money, you know, teach us, tell us to save, all these kinds of things. And then I'd say as I got older, especially in high school, as my brothers were going off to college, and then as I went off to college, I started to learn about more of the finances, not just like save your money, but how my family was doing, what everything needed to go to in college, how expensive it is, and, you know, just planning for all of that. So
it's good. And raising money as a kid, what were some of the things that you did to do that?
Yeah, so I did a lot of like lemonade stands in the summer. I'd say that's one of my earliest memories of money there, is earning my own. My parents would really support it. They'd go out and help me get the lemonade. I'd pay them back and make some cookies, sell them to the neighbors. I remember my brothers would mow the neighbors' lawns or go shovel the snow, all these things. They'd go knock on the door, see if they needed anything. And it was kind of a good lesson of both rejection, if someone's like, no, I don't really want to pay you to do that, or yeah, if you do it, here's some money, you earned it. So.
Have you ever thought of, I mean, I would recommend looking into clearing leaves as a job. You can really rake it in.
Oh, that's
a
good.
good one.
more dad jokes to come. I like it. That's good. So Mary, I had similar experiences, lemonade stands. We had a grain elevator, grew up in central Kansas. We had a grain elevator half a block from our house. So we'd carry the big contraption over, and the farmers would line up to drop their wheat off, and we'd peddle our lemonade. But yeah, raking leaves and so forth. But Jack one-upped us. And, do you want to share a little bit about your entrepreneurial experiences as a kid?
Yeah, so I don't really clearly 100% remember why or, you know, what gave me the idea to start these things. I think I was really young, wanted to make money of my own, but was too young to actually get a job. So I was just trying to find any possible way to make money. So I would
try this at home, folks.
I would try to find things that I could sell door to door. I was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, so we would go door to door selling Christmas wreaths in the winter. So I kind of saw, okay, this could work. You know, neighbors are nice. They'll answer the door and listen to my little spiel and maybe spend money on what I'm offering. So I tried selling sticks, and I sold them as dog toys. So I would just go out in the woods behind my house and pick up some small sticks, drag them around in my little red radio flyer wagon, and go door to door. And I think I sold them for 10 cents a piece. I also remember selling the little tar strips that they put in the sidewalk. I would pull them out, and I would sell them as snakes, like little dog toy snakes. And then I don't remember doing this, but my mom tells me about being woken up on a weekend morning and me telling her that we now had to make hundreds of cookies that I had just sold to the neighbors that hadn't been made yet. So had that selling spirit, just trying to make money through any means possible.
That's awesome. Supply met the demand, right?
Right.
You probably grounded that weekend, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so definitely a lot of things can shape us and our value system with money. knowing what you guys know now, if you were sitting down with a financial advisor, are there any questions that come to mind that you would ask or recommend that people ask a financial advisor?
I'd say, I'm still pretty young, new to all of this. I don't know a ton. So I think one of my first questions with an advisor would just be, if you were me in my stage of life right now and looking ahead at all the stages of life that I'm going to have, what would you do? And knowing all that you know, what would you do in my situation? And then I take that as advice and roll with it, I think.
Okay, good.
So
Excellent. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think that's good advice. If I were to meet with a financial professional, I think it would just be asking, am I doing the right things? What should I be doing? And kind of going off of Mary's question, it will depend on your stage of life. It'll depend on your financial goals. But I think a lot of what people are doing with regards to their finances can be potentially misinformed by what they're hearing on social media or online. Maybe it's only informed by one source that has a specific perspective or is failing to cover other context. So just covering the basis of what you're doing now. Am I doing the right thing? What's your take on this? What advice do you have for me? And kind of informing that with, I want to retire at this age, or here's the career I'm going into. This is the income I expect. What are your financial goals? Do you want to travel a bunch? It's all going to be based on that, but make sure you're doing the right thing by asking those questions.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I think obviously I'm coming from a little bit different stage in my life. I've had the opportunity to work with a financial advisor for quite a few years. And a few of the things that I feel like I've really gained from that. First of all, just having a little bit more of an understanding of how investing works and to be able to have a little bit more risk tolerance, where when I started off, I was just panicked about, oh my goodness, the market's down, I'm losing money, I'm never going to be able to retire. And having an expert that I've been working with to really help me see how, even though the market ebbs and flows, there's a steady, typically, hopefully steady growth. And one of the really important things is to get started saving early, because there are studies where if you save a certain amount early on and let that interest, that compound interest, work for you, you're going to end up with far more than if you don't save for many, many years and you start later and even have more in there. So that's been definitely a tool that I've learned. Also, I think just having an expert, somebody that really knows what they're doing, that can help you kind of figure out how to maneuver in something that you're not an expert. Seeing, you mentioned family members that weren't familiar with investing or financial services. You don't go to your buddy or memes for health advice, or maybe you do. But you go to experts, and that's one of the things that I think is really valuable, is that these people, people that are doing this, they have not only a knowledge but also a responsibility to do what's best for you, and not just selfishly try to advance their situation.
It's you mentioned time earlier, the value of time, the compounding, and I heard it said once, the best time to have planted a tree was 30 years ago. The second best time is now, as you need that time to build up, and that's sometimes hard to do. But having a good plan, working with a good financial advisor, if you have a plan, and you alluded this, is we often see someone that comes in and works with us for the first time, and they're a little bit tentative and maybe haven't done this before. And you fast forward a year later, they're a lot more open about things, more comfortable with it. They ask less about the market and what do we think about gold and what about China and this and that, because they know there's a plan there. And we're not trying to time the market, like you mentioned earlier, is we're not day trading, but how do we
the earlier take.
Take one. So having a plan. I remember when COVID hit, this will always stick with me. COVID hit, the market went down significantly very quickly. Got a call from one of our clients. What do I do? Walked her through and reminded her, you have a plan. We have these buckets and da-da-da. And at the end of it, the next day she sent me a text message with a picture of a poster she had put on her bathroom mirror that said, "Have peace, you have a plan," which is something we had talked about. So oftentimes people start off a little bit more conservative, and then once they're comfortable with their plan, they get more aggressive because they see how that works. And that's not a prediction of the market, but good.
Right.
How about for you?
I'm sorry. What was it? Did I answer this already?
Maybe
I
you
thought
did.
so.
I think I did. I think I was first.
She went first. Yeah.
I forgot the question. I was like, whoa.
That was a test, Mary.
Okay.
That's the third time today I've tried that. Talking about college. So you're fresh out of college, you're in the midst of it, and you're in a situation where you have a college age kid. It seems like when I grew up, there was a lot of emphasis on getting a college education. And it feels like that is started to change, where more people are going the route of some type of trade. And part of that is the cost of education is just continuing to increase. And then there's arguments about the quality of education. And then you throw in AI, and we're all going to be out of work in a year anyway. And but any perspective on the college funding and the experience and value or not value of that? And what have you seen some other people that choosing to do with that?
Yeah, I think it's a positive thing that people are putting more thought into that decision of, is college the right next step for me? I think depending on where you grow up, the family you grow up in, where you go to high school, it's kind of implied that it's the next step after high school. Get into a good college as best you can, and that's what you do after high school. So it's often taboo or looked down upon when people decide not to do that, like they messed something up. Things didn't go according to plan. But in reality, it's not the right choice for everybody, depending on what your career aspirations are, depending on what your interests are. And especially now, when you can gain so much information from the internet, you can go out and take courses online, or if you're going into tech and want to do coding, you can learn all these languages by yourself online. Maybe there isn't value for you in what you want to do in going to college and spending all that money and getting in debt and spending years of your life doing that. So I think it's a positive thing that people are putting more into that decision for them. And I had many people that I knew in college that started out freshman year as an undecided major, or maybe had committed themselves to something that they thought they would love based on their skills or just what they thought in high school, and through classes or through internships just discovered it wasn't for them. School wasn't for them. Maybe the professional world wasn't for them, or whatever they had chosen. And they decided to drop out and go on another path, whether that was the trades or just picking up another full-time job to, take some time to decide what they really wanted out of life. I think a lot of people are kind of pushed through that decision process towards the end of high school of decide what you want to do for the rest of your life right now. And there's no possibility of changing. There is, and just know, even going into high school, or going into college rather, you have the freedom to change majors or to drop out, and be open to that possibility, because there's definitely a financial burden and the time that goes along with committing yourself to going through college.
Definitely. It reminded me, I remember in high school, getting towards the end of high school, I got to get into the right college. I got to choose the right major. I got to do this and that and that. And you feel like every decision is going to be you're stuck, and it's not. Cement takes a little while to dry. So you have the opportunity to make some different decisions along the way.
Yeah. It's a lot to ask for kids whose brains aren't fully developed to decide the rest of their life. But I will say that I think I agree. I think it's great that there's more open-mindedness toward people not taking the college route. I will say personally, college was an amazing experience for me. Some of my best friends now are people that I met in college. But also I think there's something really valuable if it's the right path to have that you're getting to be independent, but you're also within a little bit of a sheltered environment. And I do think that there's a lot of opportunity for emotional growth if you have the opportunity to go to college. And that's, again, like you said, it's not for everybody. And I think that we're really seeing a trend for graduates going into trade schools and trades, which is a real need. It's something that really is, you hear a lot of industries that are really desperate for people to be starting to come into those businesses. And so it's good that there's not that kind of negative connotation to going that direction as well.
Yeah, I still can't find the carburetor on my car, so God bless. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, no, I would say similar to Alyssa here. The college experience, like, it has so many areas to grow. It's not always just about the education.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just coming off being, 19, just having made that decision, it did kind of feel like that was probably the planned next step to go to college. But a lot of kids, I would say, need to go to college to maybe learn that wasn't the right choice for me, or I like this, I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd say if like a senior in high school has that knowledge that they know that's not for them and they can reflect on that and they don't go to college, I think that's really good. But I think a lot of kids probably aren't at that level yet. They don't really know. That's like a big trend I remember in my senior year. People were just a little confused, just not sure what the right thing was for them. So sometimes you got to just jump into something and then that'll tell you don't like it, or you do. So
we were talking earlier about Michelangelo created David, and there was a pope. The pope at the time was interviewing him, was talking with him, and asked him how did you create the David, and he said, well, I simply removed everything that wasn't the David, which is certainly an oversimplification, but sometimes life is like that, is finding out the things that aren't the right fit for you is oftentimes that's easier to do than what do I like. So yeah, when in doubt, I just ask my wife. It works out well. For Jack and Alyssa, what prompted you to have an interest in our industry and what we do? What kind of brought you to this table, so to speak?
I'll let you start, Jack.
Okay. I think for me, it was just kind of developing an interest in money early on, I guess. I shared those experiences of trying to make money young as a kid, and also putting effort into trying to manage that money, maybe without the hands-on guidance of my parents. I remember things like researching stocks or researching, the market, trying to find ways to make more money with my money, learning from, Warren Buffett's fundamental analysis of stocks and things like that. And so I always had an interest in personal finance. How do I use my money to make the best use of it? And going through high school, always had an interest in finance and business, and also was strong in math. So that's why I decided to try to become an actuary in college. Found out through internships that wasn't the right career path for me, mainly because I wanted to work so much with people and really wanted my work to have a direct impact on other people. So kind of leverage that interest in personal finance with that desire to work directly with others, and found that through additional education, trying to take certification exams. It was the right fit for me, things I was interested in from a material perspective, but then also from the ability to work with others and having that rewarding aspect of using my skills to help other people.
That's good. Good.
Yeah.
If you're at a cocktail party, how do you spot, and they're all actuaries there, how do you spot the outgoing actuary?
Oh boy. I've heard a lot of actuary jokes out there. Let's see.
They're the one that's looking at your feet when they're talking instead of their own.
The outgoing actuary. Ba-dum.
Yes. Alyssa, how about for you?
Well, I haven't been in the financial services business that long. But when I started, one of the things that I really liked about it is just learning more about investing as for my personal life, and seeing, we talked a little bit about just seeing how the market works and having that impact my risk tolerance. Another thing that I've really learned as I've been in the industry is one of the things that I'm just passionate about is helping people. And one of my favorite things in my day at work is when I can help someone answer a question or get them the information that they need. And that I really feel like Paladin and being an advisor, is really about helping people identify their goals and then achieve their goals. Like, come up with a plan, like you were talking about. Come up with a plan. How do you navigate life and achieve your ultimate goals? And you've mentioned a program that you and your wife went through about what are you retiring to, not what are you retiring from,
Mhm.
and kind of having that idea and helping people get to that point, I think is really an exciting part of this business.
Yeah. I don't think it was Stephen Covey that originated the quote. I forget who originated, but you want to make sure that as you climb the ladder, so to speak, of success, that you don't get to the top and find that it was on the wrong wall. So in other words, thinking about where you want to go, what are your goals? And it's not just what did I return last quarter or last year and how much money do I have? It's the money. You don't measure life in dollars and numbers. You think about your relationships, your parents, your kids, family members, whoever it might be. You don't assign a dollar to that. It's money is used to help you to do things that you want to do.
It's a tool.
And it's hard to do that if you don't know what you're moving towards.
Yeah. So Jeff, Jack, and Mary and I decided it's time to turn the tables on you. You're in the hot seat now.
You're breaking up.
So I'm curious. I got to see, I mentioned your wife, Nikki. I got to see kind of her goal or her passion and her role that she's involved in. So how would you identify your goal or your passion or your mission statement?
Yeah. Why do I do this?
Yeah.
Really started as a kid as my parents. I tell a story when I do a seminar at the beginning. I kind of tell my backstory, and I was 9 years old. I still remember this, and I was driving my bike down the country road, middle of Kansas, and I was upset because my parents told me I couldn't have something. So I got on my bike and was running away. And I got about a mile from the house and the guilt hit me. So I turned around, pedaled back, and I was in a hurry because my mom was leaving for work at like 8 o'clock at night. She worked the late shift because it paid a little bit more. So it hit me. They're trying, they're sacrificing. You can't have everything. And that really kind of hit home with me. So that they were always encouraging me to save. And so I saw a young age. I remember picking out stocks when I was 13 and really got interested in this stuff because I wanted to make sure that money wouldn't control my life. I'd have options along the way. And then somewhere that became that, well, what if I did that helped other people to navigate that? And having that feeling of the freedom and the control that comes about in having a good plan. So that's the kind of the people side. And I listen to a lot of financial podcasts, and that's a very common theme that you touched on, as a lot of financial advisors are very geared towards trying to help people. We just do it through math and consulting and therapy. So a little bit. Right. So yeah, that's the people side of it. Yeah.
You talked a little bit about your childhood, and we kind of did ours. So what are you teaching your two kids, who we saw earlier today, about money? Like, what kind of lessons are you trying to hammer into them so that they know for their future?
Don't buy anything. play with sticks and rocks. Saving first. So Jack's recently, we started doing allowance for him, so he's got to do chores throughout the week, and paid him his allowance and for a couple items, and made him fork over 20%, and save and give and so forth, and he didn't bat an eye, and that was the first time that made me feel good. Is all right, how much is that? And put 20% aside. Another one is just being thoughtful about where you spend your money. So we go to a movie and buy popcorn, but they inevitably want candy as well. So I've taught them there's a gas station right outside of the movie theater, and it's about half the prices in there. So they're trained. They know, hey, can we stop at the gas station first? So hopefully that'll compound, if you will, over time to be thoughtful about how you spend money. Jax is in a lot of different sports, so there'll be vending machines at the arena or wherever we're at, and he'll ask, can I get something? Nope. I'll pay it. Nope, not doing it, because we have the same thing at home, and we're not going to spend $5 on something. You just wait for 15 minutes and it'll be okay. I remember there was a thing. Maybe you guys have heard of this, but they call it the marshmallow challenge, where you take a kid 3 years old or so. Have you done this
Yeah.
before? And you offer the kid, you can have 1 marshmallow now, or if you wait 10 minutes, I'll give you 2 marshmallows. Doesn't work on an 8-year-old, but they should take the marshmallows from you. And, see how they respond to that. So I remember I didn't do that with Lex. I don't think we haven't done that. So we need to try that, but did that with Jax. And I was proud he chose the 2 marshmallows. And
Wow.
yeah, so those are a couple.
Yeah, super interesting. I guess we also talked too about what we would be asking if we were clients of a financial advisor. I'm curious, from your perspective, having worked with lots of clients, what are the questions that clients should be asking, or kind of what methodology should they follow to get the most out of their relationship with you or another advisor that they may be working with?
One question everyone typically asks, what does this cost? And it's important to know that, but also it's not just what the cost is or what are the fees of working with a particular financial advisor. Honestly, they're all pretty much the same. You can find some more expensive, more, a little bit cheaper. Also look at, though, the total cost of ownership. So if I'll see someone that comes in, they're working an advisor that charges them 1.5%, for example, and they have them invested in things that they could drop the expenses in half by using a different type of investment vehicle, like a mutual fund, switch that to ETFs, your costs are going to drop significantly typically. So understanding that is important, but I think also asking, what things do you as the advisor see the most value in what you do for clients? Because it's very easy to focus on fees and focus on investment returns. We're not trying to beat the S&P 500 and beat this benchmark. We're trying to get enough return at the right amount of risk to help people climb the right ladder on the right wall. And I think that's important, is understanding what value do you see that you bring to the table and how does that pertain to me? I also think, what type of products and services do you typically provide to people and what things do you not provide? There are some financial people that are licensed in a particular manner. They can only offer one type of product, and everybody that comes in and meets with them is going to be offered that product. It would be good to know that they're not licensed to offer other things as well. If I need a hole in the wall, a hole in the wall to install something, I don't need a hammer, I need a drill. So making sure you're applying the right tool to the right situation. Yeah, good. Okay, any others? That was good. Very good. So yeah, I think a lot of wisdom here and things to think about, not only for us, but for anyone listening to the show. And as we carry on this month's podcast, we'll talk a little bit more and apply some of these things to big life purchases. We talked about homes, college, long-term care, healthcare, funding retirement, the fun stuff in general. So appreciate you guys stepping up to the plate here to join me here today. No one passed out, at least that they'll know of. This is our second take of the podcast. So
hopefully it's recording.
Yeah. I see the red light.
Good.
So yeah, thank you all. If you're interested in giving us a call, we offer a complimentary second opinion on your situation, on your retirement plan. You can give us a call at 651-842-8406 or visit us at financialpaladin.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. And again, please take a moment, if you're a regular listener to the show, is scroll down and give us a rating on whatever podcast service you're listening to us through. And we would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Take care. Okay.